Josh Wilson here with FloorHSFootball.com as we come to you with more interviews with the coaches from around the Sunshine State that are playing in the 2022 Florida High School Athletic Association State Championships in Tallahassee and then, of course, the next following week in Fort Lauderdale here. Joining me now is the head coach of the Clearwater Central Catholic Marauders, head coach Chris Harvey. Coach, I appreciate you being able to join me here. And as I record this here on a 8 o'clock in the morning type deal, you know, it's state championship week for y'all. It's been the first time in a while since Clearwater Central Catholic's been to the state championship, and what's the feeling like right now there for Clearwater Central Catholic? To be able to play in a state championship game for the first time in quite a while.
I mean, the way that their school has supported us, over the years, and then now be able to have an opportunity. We've been so close so many times since I've been here, since 2015, and then to finally get over that hump, to have an opportunity to play for a state championship. I mean, the team we're playing, we've met. I think this is the fourth time. The other three times we've met since I've been here has been in the state semifinal game, and we've always talked about how we'd love to be able to have an opportunity to play them, in the big game. So I mean, our fans are excited. Their school has been so supportive, and I'm pretty excited to get our guys up and get rolling.
No, I mean, you've been there since 2015. The last time was 2013 when they played in the state title game, and they lost in that game to Trinity Christian. But this time around, you're playing probably much bigger juggernaut in terms of Shaman Mandana. So let's talk about that for a moment. When you go on the road last week to play University Christian because won the reseeding in the state semifinal, who had upset Trinity Christian the week before that. So when looking at all of that, when talking about looking at the opponent you faced, I mean, I think you're all are prepared for this because you don't go out and just schedule any team. You schedule a competitive schedule for your guys, and it showed this year.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I think this is year 7 for me, and a lot of times, like to me, if you're going to be competitive late in the year, how you sort of make your schedule throughout the early part of the year, it matters. So I think if we were reintroduced to district schedules this year, which was good because it allowed us to be able to play for a championship in the regular season. But then to be able to schedule the teams that we're able to schedule during the season. I mean, I think 7 of the 10 teams we played were playoff teams this year. I think that 2, 3, 4 of them played in regional finals, and I think there's still one playing in the state championship this week. So I mean, with that being said, I think our schedule does a good job. I mean, this is it will be by far the best team we've played, but I think that we've done a good job. Our guys have done a good job of making sure that we're at our best when our best matters. We sort of pride ourselves on, improving throughout the year and making sure that we're doing those things that allow us to do that. And then, we'll play the best team on our schedule the last game of the year. And hopefully our best game of the year is our last game as well.
You mentioned that, hey, one of the teams on your schedule from this year was still playing for a state championship in Trinity Catholic. That's the only loss y'all had this year was to Trinity Catholic, who's playing in the one state championship game this weekend as well. So, when it comes to scheduling, I mean, you mentioned the district, having the district, being able to play for a district championship obviously was a big thing for y'all. But, when it came to that scheduling part this year, how hard was it for y'all to get this schedule put together, given the fact, you still had to go find, 7 games on the schedule. You had 3 guaranteed. You got to go find 7 others. They're not coming down and banging the door at Clearwater Central Catholic saying, "Hey, play us." You have to go to them and bang on their door.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, we only play one team in Pinellas County, and that's in St. Pete Catholic. They're in our diocese, and my brother-in-law is actually their coach. And to be honest with the district, that's another way that the district helps us is we only have to find 7 games. And years past, we've had to find 10 games, and finding 10 games where most of the teams that you're playing are, not in the local area. I think we played. I mean, I don't know the number. We probably we played every private school in Hillsborough County, and a few other schools over there. But I mean, scheduling's always tough for us. But in a way, I mean, our our goal when we make our schedule is to do a good job of, finding good competition. I think that, you know, winning is important, but I think, competing at a high level so that, as the season goes on and progresses and you get in the playoffs, your teams are sort of seasoned for those big games and those competitive games and those tough games that allow you to be, playing at your best level when it counts.
Let's talk about looking, being able to play your best game. Let's talk about the team itself. I mean, looking at the offensive side of things here, Deshaun Newton. Let me say that again. Deshaun Newton, only a sophomore quarterback, but man, he's put up some very very gaudy numbers here and during the season here in 13 games played. I mean, 2,100 yards passing, but another 1,200 on the ground. But y'all are you take a balanced approach on the offensive attack, so and it shows in the numbers here. So what is it? What makes Deshaun special as a sophomore and the line of Newtons that have come through Clearwater Central
Yeah.
Catholic over the years?
Well, I think, like you said, the biggest thing that allows us to be successful on offense. I mean, I think that I'm probably going to catch a lot of grief from this, but I think this is by far the best offensive team we've had. We've got over 5,000 yards of offense already. But the fact that we're able to be so balanced, I mean, we've had some success over the years, but usually it's either a run oriented team or a pass oriented team. But our balance, I mean, you speak of Shawnee, our quarterback. I mean, he has 1,000 yards, but he's not even our leading rusher. We have another running back that's got, he's got close to 3,000 yards over the last 2 seasons. We've got a couple receivers that we can get the ball to, and they can do some stuff. So our overall balance, I think, is what really helps us. I think our goal, we're always, if you know us and see us play, our goal is to run the football, and that's just my mentality. Being a defensive guy, I think that managing the clock and limiting possessions for the other team is the best way to win games, and the best way to do that is to run the ball. And Shawnee definitely, and an offensive line. I mean, when you talk about a team that's got 3,000 yards rushing as a team, the running backs and the guys carrying the ball get a lot of the credit, but we've got a group of 6 offensive linemen that play a lot. 3 of them returning from last year, and those guys have done an incredible job because what you're going to get when you've got a player like Shawnee and a player like Linwood is they're going to be blocking 7, 8, 9-man boxes all the time, and when you get that and you still consistently put up the numbers they have running the football, that's pretty impressive. And I think the thing that makes us most dangerous and things that have helped us get to this point is because we don't have to be a solely run team. I mean, as good as we've ran the ball, and I think Shawnee's thrown for like 2,100 yards, he's only thrown 2 interceptions. One was late in the game against Trinity Catholic, and the other one was, we wanted to stretch the field in a game one time, and it was not that any interception's a good interception, but it's one of those times we wanted to take a shot, and we threw a ball, and the kid made a good play. But other than that, we've done a good job of managing the clock from protecting the football, and I think that with that, and then with our explosiveness, I think that's really what's helped us offensively.
And that's a big part and thing. And of course, as you said, Linwood Sappett, who's your leading rusher here this year, over 1,200 yards right there this season so far. And but let's talk about defense because you're a defensive guy, so I'm sure this is probably the bigger thing you preach at practices: defense, defense, defense wins championships, and that's what you're hoping to do here come Thursday night against Chaminade Madonna in the Class 1M state championship. That's a game 7 o'clock kickoff time at Gene Cox Stadium in Tallahassee. And Coach, defensively, how do you approach your defensive mindset? With your guys, because defensive mind. You played in college level ball. You played in 2 national championships. But as you posted on Twitter and on social media, you're probably more nervous about this game than playing in two national title games when you were a college football player.
I will say, maybe it's just because I'm getting older and I've been here long enough that I remember my first year coaching in West Virginia, my first game, a rivalry game for my high school. I mean, like I said, I was more nervous then because things are sort of, when you're a player, that you control things. Now as a coach, you really, once they're on the field, it's all on them. You hope that you prepare them well enough. And I think that speaking defensively, I mean, we've played well. I think we give up, less than 15 points a game, and we've got a we've gotten to some games where we've tried to play some younger guys, and we're not really as worried about that number at the end as winning the game. So I think that we've done well defensively. We're pretty talented. On our defensive side of the ball, we've got some guys over the last 3 or 4 weeks because of some injuries that have played some different positions, and it's one of those deals they've stepped up and done a great job. I mean, I think that we have. We've always liked to play an aggressive style of defense. I mean, we're not afraid to get up in your face and do some things. And as far as, mixing coverages up, our kids are smart. They buy into what we're doing. They play hard. And I think that's the most important thing about, being a successful defensive team is the attitude and approach that you have, the willingness to prepare and do the right things in practice, and then making sure that those things, translate to how you play on game night.
When it comes to being able to all that right there, what do you think is going to be the biggest key for your team to beat Chaminade, who is nationally ranked, who is a team that has been has scheduled a tough schedule this year too, like what you did with your team. How do you prepare them to knowing that this is the biggest game of the year for your guys, and it's a nationally ranked opponent too in the situation for the state championship.
I think the thing that we have to understand is, you're right. It's the biggest game of the year for us, but it's also the biggest game of the year for them. For everybody that says that, this is the best team we've played all year, and I agree. But I wholeheartedly believe that this is we're the best team they've played all year. And I know that's hard for some people believe, because you're right. They play a schedule of teams, and there's one or two of them that are playing the state championships now, and they've got a tough schedule. But I believe in my guys, and I think that the way that we prepare, the way that we, like you keep talking about the schedule we played. I mean, we don't have to do anything but be ourselves. We've done everything that we could possibly do in preparation throughout the season to make sure that we're sort of peaking at the right time. And what better right time to peak than in the last game of the season in the state championship. So I'm just excited about seeing how our guys show up and finish this thing off the right way.
And last but not least, after going through this year with the whole with the Metro Suburban split and everything, and everything, but I know the one big thing is that district play was great for y'all having that back, but having to play the state championship in Tallahassee, maybe instead of, say, like a place like Fort Lauderdale, how do you feel about this whole thing?
One, I don't know that there's ever a system that's going to please everybody. It really didn't change a lot for us. I mean, we have to beat the same teams that we've always had to beat to be able to get to where we want to be. I mean, for what it's worth, if I were a Miami team that your opportunities to win a state championship were sort of cut in half, or I guess that's the same thing for all of the Metro teams, based off of where we are. We're sort of limited on the opportunities. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't think that there's a perfect way to do this. Don't necessarily agree with the fact that a one Metro team has to travel to a suburban area to play a state championship. But at the end of the day, I mean, we're playing for a state championship. If you want to play in our backyard, we're going to consider that a great opportunity. So, I mean, I think complaints about the system may be more of a topic of conversation later on, but right now we're more worried about taking advantage of the opportunity that we have.
And that opportunity presents itself to y'all on Thursday night, 7 o'clock kickoff at Gene Cox Stadium in the Class 1M State Championship. Coach, we'll see you in Tallahassee Thursday night, and best of luck to the Marauders here in the state championship against Chaminade.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate everything you do.
Appreciate it, Coach. That was head coach Chris Harvey of the Clearwater Central Catholic Marauders joining us right here on FortHSFootball.com, and we appreciate him joining us here and everything. And that'll do it for us on this part of the video stuff, and we'll see you next time on our next video here on FortHSFootball.com.